Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to Leading Our Own Way. As you can see, if you're watching, I'm sat in a brand new massive chair. It is well comfortable. I've got nice big armrests. Just have to rearrange the shelf though, because it is a bit of a big chair. But first, today, I need you to get ready to be inspired, because in this episode, I sit down with Mr. Trav Bell. Here he is, the bucket list guy, a former competitive surfer and personal trainer turned global expert on living your best life. Now check this out. Right here next to me is a big picture with him holding a list and a bucket. Right down his alley. It's his personality, his character. He's brilliant. It's just one of the realest, most authentic people I've ever met. Brilliant. He shares how he turned his struggles with depression into a mission to help others create and achieve meaningful bucket lists. We dive into the power of self-leadership, the importance of daily habits, and how embracing authenticity can transform your life. Something I've always felt, not conforming into, wearing suits as we talk about, just being yourself, whether it's you talking in front of kids, whether it's talking in front of a meeting, talking in front of thousands of people like Trav does. His story is, it's packed with pivotal moments, like his work with the Reach Foundation and insights from his book, My Bucket List Blueprint. Absolutely incredible. I advise everybody to go and grab a copy. From world travels to inspiring business with his message, Trav's journey is a masterclass in purpose and positivity. Plus, don't forget, I think I've got a picture here, check out his podcast, the Bucket List Life Podcast. I'll put everything in the show notes for you to revert to. But for now, definitely go and subscribe and tune in. But don't miss this one. It's time to start your own bucket list. It's got me thinking about it a lot deeper level. Anyway, we'll be right back after the little intro that I do. But please, go and subscribe to the channel and follow on all the social media. It really, really helps the show. But enjoy the conversation, Trav and I. See you in a minute. Welcome to Leading Our Own Way. I'm your host, Andrew White, and this is the podcast that unveils captivating narratives of resilience and personal triumph. This podcast is for anyone seeking inspiration and insights on overcoming life's challenges. Follow and subscribe, and then we can lead together forever. Mr. Trav Bell, how are you today, brother?
Andrew White, stoked to be on. Very well.
Thank you for coming on Leading Our Own Way. Thank you for being part of my journey. It's awesome to have you on. How's the day going for you so far?
The day is good. It is Thursday. It is we're into the new year.
Happy New Year.
Is here in Victoria. The sun is out. It's about 30 degrees outside. There is no surf. Very disappointed. The only downside is, and I'll get this out of the way real quick, is we've just been through Christmas, obviously, and I've got 4 kids. I was wrapping presents, using and kids, write this down. Don't do this at home. Don't use your teeth as scissors when you're cutting the sticky tape to wrap the presents, because my old cap decided to go with the sticky tape, and a cap that I've had on my tooth for 20 years decided, I don't know where it is now. So I'm getting that done in about 2 hours from when we hit stop on the recording. So you've got somewhat of a gangster kind of guest. I think I might get a grill. I don't know yet.
Well, I appreciate you joining me on the podcast, and the only episode ever to have the broken tooth. No stage, the hundreds of stages you've been on, no audience have seen the cracked tooth. So I'll take it.
No one even. I forgot I even had it. So this is better. Don't judge me, people. Don't judge me.
No, I love it. Well, I'm glad it's there's no surf, because I know you like being out there. You probably would have cancelled on me if you had some good waves right now.
Yes, I would have. I'm not going to lie.
Beautiful. Well, for those who don't know where we are in Victoria, Australia, because I have a few people in the UK and America listening too as well, but we're on the long surf coast of Australia, and where one of the major surf movies was filmed, wasn't it? Point Break and Bell's Beach, wasn't it?
Well, I think don't let a story get in the way of the actual facts.
Oh, okay.
No. None of that was filmed at Bell's Beach in Torquay. No, none of it was filmed. Not to my knowledge, anyway.
I was telling everybody that.
Where Bodie goes out in the 50-year storm at the end, That was not Bell's Beach.
Yeah. Ruined
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that was not Bell. I think it was Waimea. But anyway,
Well,
look, I could be wrong, but that's that's. I think that movie sent the surf industry backwards by 10 years. But anyway,
there we go. Well, you're the pro. I'll take your word for it.
no, far from it.
Mr. Trav Bell, you've been on a bit of a journey. You are also known as the bucket list guy. Tell everybody why you're known as the bucket list guy.
Yeah, well, I grew up here in Ocean Grove. Always been a surfer. I was a competitive surfer when I was younger, and that got me into surf lifesaving as well. And I was a nipper, then became a state Ironman champion doing surf lifesaving, lifeguard. Always a jock, pretty much. Ordinary at school, good at athletics. That led me to do a physical education degree, and become an exercise physiologist. Up at Victoria University in Melbourne. Third year uni of doing that. This is like, I'm 51 now, and so this is like kind of mid 90s or sort of early 90s. We had this course called Strength and Conditioning, and there's this guy by the name of Tony Hewitt, who I'm still connected to today. He came in and he taught us how to do all the Olympic lifts and write periodized programs and, for athletes, and it was all part of our course. Sweet. And he was doing this thing called personal fitness training. Coming out of the aerobics era of the 80s and 90s, and he was doing this thing. So he personally trained all these celebrities and people from Toorak in Melbourne and rich people, and I was just fascinated because it was like gym work or group classes that you do, like circuits and stuff. But he was doing this thing called personal training. I didn't even know it existed. Became fascinated. This is pre-internet, pre-crack book, pre-Instacrack, and I was just fascinated. So he said, "Yeah, buy this book. Go to subscribe to this magazine. Go to this conference, etc." I just did it all before it was online. And then I started working in the gym. I got my first personal training client. And again, I kind of did, I was in that, kind of industry. I did, kids swimming teaching for beer money during uni, and started doing I charged my first personal training client $25, Heather, who was her name, and got her amazing results. She referred everyone in the English language and then some to my business. I got a record was 63 1-hour mobile personal training sessions in a week. I did that for years. Then centralized operations from all around Melbourne. I think I got up to 13 personal trainers working for me. Established one of the first personal training studios in Melbourne, in Richmond.
Oh, nice.
Just down the road from Channel 9. So we had all sorts of celebrity clients and stuff. A year later, after doing that for a few years, then someone said, one of my trainers said, "Oh, I want to do one of these." So I looked into franchising. Someone said, "You can't franchise personal training because it's personal." I said, "That's all I need for you." Thank you, Anthony Robbins of Motivation, because that's all I need, someone to say no to me. Mm-hmm. And a year later, after that, we've established our first franchise, got a chain of personal training studios around Australia, tens of thousands of clients, over 2 million personal training sessions, about 300 personal trainers under that umbrella. Did that for 20 years. But breakdown before breakthrough. I let some somewhat cancerous people into the system. They wanted, the analogy I get, they wanted to put beetroot in the Big Mac, if you know what I mean, and do their own thing. And I went, no, you're not allowed to do that. They went, fuck you. I went, fuck you. And the lawyers went, fuck you, fuck you. That was costing me a small fortune. I didn't cope very well. Thought I'd party it away. That didn't help. But some other stuff was going on in my life. One thing led to another. I slipped into a state of depression, but instead of going on heavy antidepressants, which is what the doctor, we had lots of clients on antidepressants, and I'm like, no, I don't want to walk through my life and numb it. Been around a lot of this psychology stuff with personal training. I wanted to sort of deal with it. So I went, instead of that, it was in a quite dark place. I'm glossing over it now, but we've all sort of been there, right? And And so instead of going on the heavy antidepressants, I just went, I want to get to the root cause of what I was going through. So I went to all the seminars and walked on fire with Tony Robbins, did ayahuasca back, went to Burning Man, did everything that you could have done.
Yeah.
And I learnt a lot about myself over about a 2-3 year journey. And really positive psychology was the thing that resonated with me. And so I was in one of these seminars. It was a hug it out, high five kind of seminar, and crying on each other's shoulder. And a mate of mine said, "Trav, why don't you teach this shit?" And I went, "Shit, yeah." It helped me compartmentalize all the investment that I put in. And about a month later, I just put all my entrepreneurial stuff together, all the stuff that I've been learning about everything and mindset and positive psychology and NLP, and put on a talk at the Western Bulldogs rooms in Yarraville, or Footscray there.
Yeah.
At about 40 people. I nearly had to pay the 40 people to come to my talk. So, what the fuck's he doing now? And about halfway through the talk, I started sharing, this is about 15 years ago. And I started sharing the fact that I had a list to do before I die, actually written down. And since I was 18, and no one knew this about me. And I just always had it. I always added to it, crossed stuff off it, and it always got me out of bed. And it really was my, if you like, my North Star for getting out of bed and getting on with life. And it was really a motivating thing. And I knew that if you wrote it down rather than being in your head, it separated it. And so I started sharing some things that I'd done and the reasons why. I said to the group of 40 people, "Who else has got one of these lists to do before you die?" I was like, "Nah, donuts."
Yeah.
I said, "Why the fuck? I don't get it." I was the only freak in the room. And I'm like, "Well, why do you get up out of bed in the morning? Why do you earn money? Why do you want more time?"
Yeah.
It's like most of the response, and I still get today, is most people's goals in life, mate, is pay off the house, put the kids through school, do a bit of travel when I'm older.
Yep.
Yeah, and possibly sicker. Really, that's it.
Yep.
Wow.
Blows my mind.
And so, and I still, like I said, I still get that today. So it inspired the group, and then at the end, Joe, one of the participants, said, "Oh, in Q&A time, how's all this list to do before you die?" It's really fired everyone up. It's like a bucket list. You're like the bucket list guy.
Love it.
And I went, holy shit. And it resonated. It just went boom. It aligned. Like I did a lot of values elicitation around the same time, read a lot of books, and it was around the same time that Tim Ferriss had just come out with his 4-hour work week. And so the whole world was moving online. And I knew that having bricks and mortar businesses in terms of gyms and commercial leases was part of the reason, was doing my head in.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were in my name, and it was this burden, this weight. And I'm just like, and here's Tim Ferriss running everything from a fucking hammock in Thailand. And I'm like, that's freedom. This is not. I like that business model. And so I kind of went online. It took me a while I made a decision. Went home that night, registered thebucketlistguy.com, went on to the Google machine, and went, who's like the Mac Daddy? Who's like the king of bucket lists in the world? No one.
Oh.
Fuck it. So I called myself the world's #1 bucket list expert, and now it's on a book.
I was going to bring it up, brother. That was my next stage.
Now it's on. Don't cover it up with your fingers.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
shit. No, because it says the world's... Dude, I made that up. So I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, and I'm like, well, you got to claim your space. And but what it does, it just put all my values in place. It gave me a real, and really what I'm about to do, as we discussed off camera, what I'm about to do is fully live it too. So I knew that was right. So I've been really, for the last 15 years, I've been reverse engineering the bucket list guy concept and the brand and the whole thing. And I knew that, guys like the Tony Robbins, and I know I do a lot of speaking, I'm not comparing myself, but all these guys, Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, all these guys had that street cred, before the internet, and then the internet just put steroids in it. So how was I going to stand out? How am I going to stand out? It's even worse now online. How am I going to get noticed? So having that personal brand has really helped me, right? And plus, it gave me a reason to be online. I love speaking. For some reason, it's not a big fear of mine, and well, it's not anymore. It was kind of in the beginning. The reason I kind of leaned into it because I was fearful of it. And I saw a speaker by the name of Alan Weiss speak, and he had no tech, no nothing, and he was laughing, had us all laughing, crying all in the 1 minute. I mean, if I can do, it was around that time, if I could do that, I could do anything, because that's the world's number one biggest fear. And I was shit growing up through school, and so I made it my mission to be good at that. Defranchised the whole business, went online, sold off my gyms, and I've been pretty much doing that ever since.
Yeah, I read you differentialized. So, but you said the ones that you've broken away from, they're actually doing pretty well still to this day. Is that
Yeah,
right?
like to the credit of the system and credit to what we created. Yeah, there's still a bunch of gyms around Australia. We had a bunch in Queensland, New South Wales, and here in Victoria, and they're still going. A lot of them are still going. Just changed to another brand, which is great.
Yeah, amazing journey. Oh, absolutely incredible journey. I feel like we'll touch on this a little bit later, but I do feel like with some of my journey, it kind of mirrors that, but just in a different industry, if that makes sense. Let's go back to your area of. Well, no, actually, no. We'll come back to that. Actually, where I normally start is with telling the audience of how you're leading your way. So if I want it to become a bit of a cliche, because the podcast is called Leading Our Own Way. How would you be able to put it into words? I know we will talk about future plans, because that's beautiful, and I love that you go in doing it, but I will save that towards the end. But how would you say you are leading your own way now, physically, mentally, emotionally, and so on?
Self-leadership, you got to the thing is, you got to put your own oxygen mask on first before you can help others.
Yeah.
Right. So as a stepdad to 4 kids who I don't know if they look up to me, but they look at me. So,
They definitely look up.
As a partner, I've got a team. I've had teams, bigger teams as well, global teams. Self-leadership is everything. It's how you show up. It's how you're living in integrity, how you're not full of shit, and especially from stage. Like one of the biggest things for me, probably what I'm known for, is just if I say something, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
If I publicly declare something, I'm in. Like I'm hopefully I practice ask them, but I practice what I preach.
Yeah.
And I think getting out of integrity, if you go out of integrity, you're not a good leader. You're not practicing self-leadership, putting that own oxygen mask on first. So, we need more examples out there in the world. And I think that's what leading your own way is all about, is just having your standards, living your values, not living in cognitive dissonance, of your mind wants to go one way, but your actions, speak another.
Yeah.
And I think there's so many people, especially in this space, mate, who are just so full of shit. And I've shared the stage with health speakers, and they've got up and got off stage and lit up a ciggy, or they've gone out and drunk all night and tried to root everyone.
Yeah.
It's just there's a lot of, and I think hopefully, the cream will rise to the top. But for me personally, and you can't worry about what everyone else is doing, for me personally, being the bucket list guy comes, in my view anyway, comes with being the example of practicing what you preach, So it's your daily routines, how you show up on social media, not just, fake lifing it like a lot of people are.
Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.